Night with Peter Jennings.
Good evening and welcome to a special Northwest edition of World News Tonight here on Channel 2. We have learned today that based on one comment heard on the EgyptAir cockpit voice recorder, the National Transportation Safety Board wants the FBI to lead the investigation from here on in. As far as we know, whatever the Safety Board investigators have heard on the tape has not explained precisely why the plane went down. But there is something there. First, here's ABC's Lisa Stark.
The heavily damaged cockpit voice recorder did produce a good recording, but it has not produced an easy answer. However, accident investigators today made a veiled reference to the FBI and a possible criminal investigation.
We are concentrating our efforts on determining from the evidence, including the cockpit voice recorder, whether or not this investigation is to remain under the leadership of the National Transportation Safety Board.
Hall would not elaborate on that statement and did not give any details of the 31.5 minutes of conversation and cockpit noises on the voice recorder. But sources close to the investigation tell ABC News that for most of the tape, the conversation between the pilots in Arabic seems routine. Then they say alarms are heard in the cockpit and the pilots begin cooperating to handle the emergency. Sources say there is no indication of an intruder in the cockpit or of a struggle between the pilots. And they say the pilots are reacting as you would expect professionals to react who are trying to manage an aircraft that is beyond being managed. It is apparently unclear from the cockpit conversation and noise just what the emergency was. Sources say the alarm on the cockpit voice recorder apparently comes before the jet began its dive. Investigators are still trying to match the times on the voice recorder with the plane's other black box, the data recorder, to produce a more complete sequence of events. And so far, nothing they have learned has changed the view that someone was in that cockpit controlling the plane on its deadly roller coaster ride. Peter?
Thank you, Lisa. Lisa Stark on the investigation. ABC's John Miller has also been covering this for us. And John, you join us tonight because you have heard something from your sources that says the FBI is going to take over, and why?
Well, the FBI has been asked to consider taking over the case, and they've said that they want to wait and learn more about this tape and what's said. Some of the intriguing things investigators want them to look at is apparently that the pilot left the cockpit at some point, leaving the co-pilot alone, and they say somewhere on that tape the co-pilot makes a statement in Arabic of a religious nature that has some reference into going into death, apparently right around the time when the plane started its dive.
Has anybody been able to determine whether or not whoever is saying this says, oh, God, help us, we're going to die, or we should die, or?
They haven't been specific about the exact words, except to couch it in that what he said, given the circumstance, was disturbing and out of context for that moment. And that's what they want to get another look at. That's why they want to examine it.
Briefly, based on what you know now, do you think the FBI will take over the investigation?
I think that after they sit down with the other investigators, if they concur with the NTSB's findings and their translations match, that this would be the time for them to step forward if they believe it's as disturbing as the NTSB says.
Thanks, John. John Miller, also on this investigation, and Lisa Stark. In other news today, the United States and China have signed a major trade agreement. The two economic giants, one developed and one getting more powerful by the day, have been negotiating off and on for more than a dozen years. And because the U.S. and China have reached an agreement, the U.S. will support China's application to join the World Trade Organization, which China has wanted to do. The Clinton administration says this deal is good for America. Here's ABC's Bill Rediker.
And action.
Movie makers in Hollywood, farmers in the heartland, bankers in New York City, all are jubilant about the breakthrough.
This trade agreement is clearly the most significant trade agreement that the United States has entered into in the last part of this century.
Significant because it further opens the world's biggest market to dozens of American agricultural and industrial goods. Lower tariffs on everything from wheat to automobiles. The U.S. will even be allowed to market twice as many movies in China. The agreement also makes it easier for American banks and insurance companies to do business in China. And in a major concession, allows foreign investors to hold stakes in Chinese telecommunications and internet companies.
To be able to finally go into China and establish a base and
and to bring, a lot of the technology that we brought to the rest of the world to go into China and help develop that market. It's going to be very, very exciting.
The U.S. actually walked away from a slightly better deal last April, one that, for example, would have lowered tariffs on automobiles more quickly. But President Clinton balked because he feared opposition from Congress, upset over China's human rights record. Now the president has promised an all-out effort to convince Congress to grant normal trade relations with China, one of the next steps before it can join the World Trade Organization. Bill Redeker, ABC News, New York.
President Clinton, as you may know, is on another overseas trip. He has spent today in Turkey, which is important in many ways to the United States. Tomorrow, the president will be visiting Turks who have suffered through but survived Turkey's 2 recent earthquakes. The death toll from Fridays is now above 450, and tonight, the temperature is below freezing. ABC's Gillian Finley makes it clear that cold is the enemy of hope.
Everywhere you look in this town these days, there's an international rescue team at work. These are the Swiss. Around the corner, the British, working together with the Israelis. The Germans brought their high-tech cameras that can probe beneath the rubble. The Russians brought their shovels. 23 countries in all responded to Turkey's plea for help, including America. After the horror of this country's last earthquake, they came quickly, but they have not had much luck.
I guess the biggest difference is that we haven't found anybody alive. We hit the ground in August, and within 36 hours had 4 lives saved.
Well, your heart kind of drops down to your shoes, really. I mean, it just, it's very, very distressing.
As the hours pass and as the temperatures drop, it's a reality rescue teams say they and Turkey will have to accept. Unlike last time, this country has done a remarkable job in organizing a rescue mission. But 72 hours later, the search teams say there's not much more they can do. Gillian Finley, ABC News, Tuesday.
When we come back, some of the day's other news, there's been a major breakthrough in fighting the most common form of arthritis. And tonight we're going to begin a closer look at boys. In this case, the anxiety of being thin.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Chevy Trucks.
20 years now. Where'd they go?
Need help with those?
I can do it. 20 years. I don't know.
I mean, you just caught an etch. It happens.
I sit and I wonder sometimes.
Year after year, it's good to have someone you can depend on. Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
A significant discovery in eye health may be lutein, a nutrient found in these healthy foods, perhaps as vital to your eyes as the beta-carotene in carrots. And now, Centrum and Centrum Silver are the only leading multivitamins that have lutein. So whatever your age, you can help maintain your precious sight. Look into Centrum and Centrum Silver, now more complete with lutein. Also look for Centrum Herbals, the only herbals backed by Centrum Science.
$69.90.
What are you looking at, cable? Shh, it's just getting good.
3 minutes a week.
Ah, DirecTV. Hey, everybody. This is Tim. Look, DirecTV's got all your favorite cable channels. Plus, now you get 2 free months of 32 premium movie channels, including 7 HBO, 4 Stars, and 5 Showtime channels with no long-term commitment. DirecTV. What are you looking at?
I was about as miserable as a girl could be. Heartburn worse than yesterday's coffee. And pain. My antacid didn't do the whole job. And Pepcid takes so long. Then I tried Alka-Seltzer. It just plain worked better.
Alka-Seltzer, the only one with the medicines to relieve all your symptoms.
It really works fast.
And only Alka-Seltzer has the effervescent power to speed relief.
Alka-Seltzer. It made a believer out of me.
Get better relief. Get Alka-Seltzer.
The Supreme Court said today it is going to hear arguments in a case involving public prayer at high school football games. A lower court ruled that student-led prayer over the public address system at a school in Santa Fe, Texas, violated the constitutional separation of church and state. At a Boston conference today, reports of a major breakthrough in treating the most common kind of arthritis, which is osteoarthritis. It affects about 21 million Americans. Researchers now think that a popular dietary supplement called glucosamine might reduce pain and spare some of the damage. Here's ABC's John McKenzie.
And that hurts. You feel that. Yes.
Osteoarthritis is the painful loss of cartilage between bones, especially in the knees and hips. This latest and most thorough study yet of glucosamine, a compound found naturally in the body, suggests that a daily glucosamine supplement might actually stop the disease from getting worse.
This trial is encouraging. It provides scientific evidence that glucosamine does affect the course of osteoarthritis.
European researchers randomly divided 212 patients into two groups, those taking glucosamine, 1,500 milligrams a day, and those taking a placebo. After 3 years, the glucosamine patients reported significantly less pain, less stiffness, and more joint function than the placebo group, and with no reported side effects. X-rays also revealed that the glucosamine patients experienced no narrowing of joint space, suggesting no loss of cartilage, while the placebo group did show a loss.
This is the first study which demonstrates an effect on structure in patients with osteoarthritis.
The study was funded by a glucosamine manufacturer, but many scientists today were openly enthusiastic about this latest research. The National Institutes of Health has been so intrigued by the potential of glucosamine on osteoarthritis that it's now funding a $6.5 million study of its own. John McKenzie, ABC News, New York.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down about 8.5 points to close at 10,760. On the NASDAQ, stocks were down more than a point. This is certainly a money item. A federal judge has ordered the Walt Disney Company to stop using the logo for the Go.com internet site, which includes abcnews.com, because it is too similar to the logo used by the search engine GoTo.com. A female pilot in the Air Force has told her superior she will no longer fly unless she can wear a skirt. The Air Force spent $1 million to train her, but she now says that because she is a Pentecostal, her faith prohibits her from wearing a flight suit. Pentecostals believe that men wear pants and women wear skirts. The Air Force has temporarily taken her off flight status. She is in a skirt and at a desk. In a moment, how do boys look at themselves today? We'll take a closer look at the pressure and the problems for some of America's sons.
Nobody does it like you.
Boy, they love to play horsey. So your carpet better be deep down clean. And for that, you need Hoover. Hey, you want the best, partner? Introducing the Hoover SteamVac Wide Path. It sends hot water surging through 6 rotating brushes to stir up and pull out deep down dirt the way no other carpet cleaner can.
Hoover.
If you want clean, deep down, you want Hoover.
Great meal. Uh-oh, gas pressure. What now? What else? Gas-X, with the most powerful medicine for fast relief. Nothing works faster. Hey, want to go for ice cream? Gas-X, the power to fight gas fast.
Quaker oatmeal is like a lifeguard. It's always there for you. And after we ate it for 30 days, it helped lower our cholesterol 23 points. So you could say it's a real lifesaver.
And it sure is yummy.
Quaker oatmeal warms your heart and soul.
There are those among us with very simple tastes. They only want the best. And for them, there's Fancy Feast gourmet cat food. Exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
Who would you like to call?
Frank?
The Samsung Digital Wireless Phone featuring internet access and voice-activated dialing. Flip the phone, shout the name, and Samsung dials the number. Samsung Digital. Everyone's invited.
What makes the fiber and Citracel fiber therapy so special? Of all these fiber therapies, only Citracel's fiber can't ferment to produce excess gas. And only Citracel's fiber is 100% soluble. For effective relief, choose Citracel.
We're going to take a closer look this week at boys. It's a project for the whole news division this week because it's so clear that to be a boy growing up in the 90s is, on the one hand, as exciting as it's ever been, but also to be under all sorts of pressure that simply was not there for previous generations. And here are some numbers by way of background. 70% of high school students identified as learning disabled are boys. The dropout rate among boys is 16% compared to 12% for girls. 4 out of 5 juvenile court cases involve boys. In 1997, 1,800 suicides were committed by teenagers between 15 and 19. 1,800. Almost 1,500 were boys.
There's something sad in boys in America today, but it's an invisible sadness that we don't know how to read.
Bill Pollock of the Harvard Medical School has been trying to understand boys for 20 years. He's done extensive research on what makes boys tick.
You ever cry when you feel something?
Yeah. I'll admit it, yeah.
You'll admit it?
I'll admit it, yeah. I'm never going to hear the end of this.
Guys still aren't supposed to cry.
Yeah. I guess it's an image.
It is this image thing that boys don't cry, says Pollock, which makes it so hard for boys.
Boys are taught from an early age not to cry, be a big boy, cut mama's apron strings.
What makes a boy sad?
Well, one thing that makes a boy sad is the inability to be able to express how he feels.
All the research about boys suggests that bottled up emotions lead to a variety of complications. The inability to handle frustration and anger, unusual stress in school, susceptibility to being bullied, and may turn a boy into a bully himself.
We don't allow our boys to shed tears, and some boys who can't cry bullets.
That is extreme, of course, but there are extremes.
Maybe they'll go shoot someone, or maybe they'll have a nervous breakdown, or maybe they'll, turn to drugs or whatever. But, after a while, you can only bottle up so much inside before you can, before it gets to you.
You believe the violent behavior such as we saw at Columbine in Colorado is an aberration?
I believe it's an extreme. Most boys will never do that. But I believe it's part of a continuum that starts with bullying and teasing, that leads to isolation, and for some boys, because of other issues, may lead to violence.
This is what 16-year-old Luke Woodham wrote from prison in 1997, after he killed 2 students and wounded 7 others at Pearl High School in Mississippi. I'm not insane, I'm angry, he wrote. I killed because people like me are mistreated every day. I did this to show society, push us, and we'll push back. Do you think you're describing a situation which undermines the general health of the nation?
I think we cannot be a healthy nation until we change the way we bring up our boys, respond to our boys, and help our boys.
There is another reason we are paying attention to boys this week. There has been so much attention paid to how a preoccupation with appearance can lead to eating disorders for girls. So we asked ABC's Kevin Newman to look at this problem of self-image for boys.
Almost every day after school, these 16-year-old friends struggle to define themselves by defining their muscles. 2 years of working out has bulked up their bodies. But what worries psychologists is what's in their minds.
Were you big enough?
I don't think I'm big enough at all. I think I have to start lifting a little more.
I'd like to get a lot bigger. I just want to get leaner and, more cut up. I want to be as big as humanly possible.
Body image has become much more important to boys and men.
Psychologist Harrison Pope calls it the Adonis complex.
Men are beginning to get a taste of the same medicine, so to speak, that has afflicted women for many decades.
These are the 90s, man. They just fit.
It began with fashion, but now just about anything can be sold by the package.
But I want you to be true.
And the standard of physical perfection that boys are held to is also getting bigger. Even boys' toys send that message.
As we look at these 3 G.I. Joes from the 1960s, the mid-1970s, and the 1990s, we can see that they have been growing steadily more muscular and more built and more lean.
As have many of the real figures boys look up to. There is now an almost cartoon-like level of masculinity where aggression is as exaggerated as their idol's size. What do you admire about their size?
Their muscles, huge muscles.
The problem comes when boys see extreme size not as an exaggeration, but as something to aspire to. Just as girls sometimes struggle for identity by becoming too thin, psychologists say in extreme cases, boys can suffer a similar disorder, but in reverse.
I kind of liken our situation to females looking up to models. You know, there are a lot of health problems associated with that.
They call it bigorexia, that boys feeling this need to be big, to be powerful, that they need to be big in order to feel good about themselves.
Psychologists say they're finding more boys strength training for the kinds of improvements you can't see under a T-shirt.
I guess if you look better, then you get like the girls and the guys are like, oh man.
People give you a lot of respect.
Yeah, it's intimidation. So, I mean, and in some ways that'll make people like you more.
And so today's boys are finding acceptance by spending more time in a gym, struggling under the weight of a culture telling them that bigger is better. Kevin Newman, ABC News, Butler, New Jersey.
There is a lot more about this whole subject on abcnews.com. When we come back this evening, physics lessons for the football fans.
Home Furnishings by Living.com. Room designed online by Clive Sirkin, Psychic. Introducing Living.com. Home furnishings and design ideas to express your personal vision for the home. Living.com. Your home, your design.
The other day, I'm driving down Broadway when that pastrami on ride catches up with me. Heartburn big time. My passenger says, here, take a Zantac 75. I say, what are you, a doctor? And he says, yeah.
The medicine in Zantac 75 is the #1 doctor-prescribed acid reducer. It relieves even your toughest heartburn, controlling acid for up to 12 hours.
A real gentleman, that doctor.
Zantac 75 for tough heartburn. Doctors know.
What if you could treat wrinkles like an expert would? With Rock, the #1 anti-wrinkle cream in France, you can. Developed with dermatologists, Rock's pure and active form of vitamin A works deeper, inside skin surface. In a 12-week study, the appearance of fine lines was reduced by 86%, wrinkles by 42%. Something more superficial beauty treatments could never promise. Rock, we keep our promises.
So instead of paying a separate commission every time you trade, you'd pay an annual fee, trade all you want.
All I want?
Yeah, virtually unlimited.
Oh, really?
Remember the financial plan we're working from here, Dad. The point is long-term capital appreciation.
I know.
You just don't want you sitting by the computer all day buying, selling stocks.
Yeah. Show me how I log on to your research.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah. Investing is serious business, Dad.
I promise I'll do my homework, okay?
Problem?
Doctor said my cholesterol is still too high.
What about diet and exercise?
They didn't do enough.
So?
He suggested adding Lipitor.
Lipitor, the #1 prescribed medication for lowering cholesterol. In clinical studies, Lipitor with diet was proven to lower bad cholesterol 39 to 60%, total cholesterol 29 to 45%, triglycerides 19 to 37%.
He said over 4 million people have started taking Lipitor to lower their cholesterol.
Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease or possible liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant.
There'll be blood tests to check for liver problems.
Tell your doctor about muscle pain or weakness, as these may be signs of serious side effects.
You take Lipitor once a day.
Ask your doctor or pharmacist for more information on Lipitor and call 1-888-LIPITOR.
Well? Lipitor did it. My cholesterol's way down.
Lipitor, the lower numbers you're looking for.
Finally from us this evening, science in the stadium. For some years here, we had a colleague from Nebraska. She was passionate about the news and the University of Nebraska football team, the Cornhuskers. Our colleague had a sense of humor about farm jokes, but she never told us about the physics. For that, ABC's Bob Jameson had to go all the way from here to Lincoln, Nebraska.
There's almost nothing Professor Timothy Gay likes more than teaching physics.
We experience time in a completely different way than we experience space.
Nothing, that is, except University of Nebraska football. In football, Professor Gay sees not only the game, but his beloved physics in action. Mass, velocity, force, on display in real life.
Professor Gay decided football was a perfect way to make physics understandable and fun. So now, how do you reach a wider audience? With television, of course. A really big television.
Football physics with UNL physics professor, Dr. Tim Gay.
Energy, like force and momentum, are important quantities in physics.
The giant screen at Nebraska's Memorial Stadium now shows Professor Gay's physics lectures. The class size, 77,000. This game, the subject was energy.
Both teams combined expend enough energy to lift a pickup 10 yards in the air, enough for a vertical first down.
Other video lectures have addressed momentum and force.
Rude's momentum, roughly 1,000 kilogram meters per second, and 3 times that of the Oklahoma player, effectively stops the run.
And gyroscopic motion.
A football must be spinning for it to be stable in flight. I wanted to talk to as many people as possible about physics. I was worried, though, that the fans would say, we come here to see football. We don't really want to go back to school and learn about physics.
The professor needn't have worried. Fans pay attention. And so do the players, including 320-pound offensive tackle Adam Jolch.
It's not like most things where they show something and not everybody watching it. Everybody's focused on watching it. It was very entertaining for the people.
By season's end, fans may no longer talk about a good punt, but about the angle at which it was kicked and how the ball then rotated on the proper axis. And if all of this makes the Cornhuskers better, colleges soon may not only have a team physician.
Let's thank our football physics professor for entertaining and educating us this season.
But also a team physicist. Bob Jameson, ABC News, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Thank you for watching this special edition of World News Tonight on Channel 2. Hope you watch Channel 2 News at 11. I'm Peter Jennings. Enjoy the rest of the evening. I hope we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Tomorrow from ABC News on Good Morning America, hyperactivity, depression. More boys are on medications than ever before. What will it lead to when America's sons become men? And on World News Tonight, from puberty to prison, hear from a boy locked up at 14 for murder. What's it like to have your freedom taken away at a young age? This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings than from any other nightly news.
All the things you love about fall are here, including new cars at your Toyota dealer. But not just any Toyotas, it's the 2000 models. Nothing leads the way to Y2K like Camry. It's well-equipped, has a fresh new look, and a low lease of $198 a month. Just $198 for America's best-selling car. So you can motor to the next century in style. This fall, get a jump on the new era in a 2000 Camry. See your local Toyota dealer, leading the way into Y2K.
Dear Albertsons, one day at work, I was asked to organize a last-minute luncheon. I remembered the delicious food that you prepare at the deli. I called Albertsons, and Lupa Ramirez and her team came to my rescue. All I had to do was go in and pick it up. At work, I was the hero. But really, you deserve all the credit. It's people like Lupa that make Albertsons my store. Sincerely, Diane Contreras, Oxnard, California.
It slammed headlong into conventional wisdom. It stamped the terms good.
On November 19th, The World Is Not Enough, rated PG-13, starts Friday.
In feature films, the production assistant gets stuff where it needs to be. A dozen glaze, a dozen chocolate. So my car is pretty much my office. Last week, I moved a flock of geese and 25 bowling balls. In 8 days, I drove about 1,000 miles. Some people may have a window office or a corner office. Me, I've got a window office that corners.
The hard-working Saturn SL.
Julie, what's your 20? I'm in the car.
We realize that not everyone has to wear a suit to the office these days. But chances are, you still have to wear shoes.
The Men's Warehouse.
You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
What up? Sonny Colby Cook.
Last night, we secretly replaced your mattress with one of Sleep Country USA's crazy quilts.
That is crazy.
Crazy quilts aren't crazy. They just cost less.
Kelly Day, only on KOIN 6 News. People you know.
Bridges is living large. The address is CBS.